Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I filmed a very simple fall inspired makeup look. I kept the eyes very minimal, the skin neutral and glowing, and I packed a punch with this gorgeous plummy lip. If you guys are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. There's a logo right down in one of these bottom corners here that'll take you to the subscribe page. But if you guys want to see how to create this very easy fall inspired makeup look, then let's just get started. Okay, so to get started, the first thing I've done is I've done my skincare and I've let that sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now I'm just going to go in with my Crunchi. I'm going to go in with my Crunchi Smart Primer. I'm just going to give that a little shake. I'm just going to do a couple pumps on my hands and then just warm that up between my fingers. And then apply that all over the face. Now I am going to let this sit just for a second just to make sure it gets all worked in there. This primer is amazing. It gives me such moisturized skin, but I do have oily skin, so sometimes I feel a little apprehensive when my primer is a little too moisturizing, but this one, it gives me the nicest glow even without highlighter on. So this is a must-have for me in my personal beauty bag. Next, I'm going to go in with the Crunchi Beautifully Flawless Foundation. I'm using the shade 2.5, and I'm also going to give that just a little shake. And what I like to do is put 2 good-sized pumps on the back of my hand. What I like to do is I like to work in sections. So I'm just going to put a couple little dots on one side of my face, and then I'm going to push that into the skin, and then kind of buff as I go as well. You guys know my trouble areas are all along my cheeks here. That's just where I have scarring. Right now I don't have I have like maybe like 2 little zits on my face, which is crazy for me because it is that time of the month and I'm usually broke out everywhere. But I'm going to do an updated skincare blog and video for you guys because I have been loving the Good Medicine Beauty Lab skincare. It has dramatically, I'm not just saying this, it has dramatically changed my face, my glow, I mean just everything. I always look luminous without looking greasy, and I can't ask for more than that. So I'm just going to keep working in small sections on my face. I just like to do it this way so that I can get even coverage everywhere. But also by working in smaller sections and pressing that into the skin, you eliminate using too much product. And then that's when you start to get the cakey look going on, which is not what we're going for because I want my skin to look very natural. And I want my skin to almost look like I have no makeup on because I definitely want the main focus of this look to be on the lips. Then once I get all of the foundation on, I can go back into other areas and add more coverage where needed. Okay, so I've got my base, my foundation on. Now I'm going to go in and do a little bit of correcting with the Crunchi Concealer in the shade Medium. This one I'm going to use to correct some blemishes. So what I like to do is I like to use my finger and warm that up on the back of my hand just to get a nice little warmth to the concealer. And then you can see like right in this area, and then I have one little guy right here. Just gonna tap there. Tap in that area. And then just a little, I have like some scarring right here on my mouth. And I like to use, you want to use a concealer that's pretty much the same shade as your foundation for correcting because you don't want those spots to be lighter. So then what I like to do is just take like a little small blending brush and just go around the edges of where I corrected. Just so that's all blended in. You don't want to touch directly on the spot that you corrected because then it'll take away the work that you've done. So just tap and then blend the edges. And like magic, it is gone. Now I'm going to use concealer to add a little bit of light to the center of my face. Now because I'm keeping this super simple with the face, I don't want a ton of highlight and contoured areas. So I am just going to go very lightly with this, but I'm using the Perfecting Concealer by, let me turn that the right side, by Hynt in the shade Light. And I am just going to be using this to add a little bit of brightness underneath the eyes and just in the center of the face, but like I said, just a tad. And I'm just going to do the same thing, put that on the back of my hand, and then I'm just going to tap it right here, basically where you have any darkness is all I'm going to highlight. So this little corner right here and underneath, and this little area gets kind of bluish dark for me. And this does have a little bit of a peachy undertone, so it's perfect for concealing any blue or purple veiny areas underneath your eyes. So then with that same brush, I'm just going to take it and buff and pat. And if you build with layers, really thin layers, you can really prevent creasing underneath the eye area as well. So be very gentle when you're buffing. You don't need to use a lot of pressure because you are working underneath that under eye area, which is delicate. Your finger is one of your best tools because it's got some warmth to it and it just melts that product right into the skin. So then I just took a little bit on the back of that blending brush and I just applied it to the areas that get red on my chin. I'm just going to add a touch right down here on the center of my chin, just because I like adding a little light to that area. And then I'm just going to do a touch down the center of the nose. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set with some powder. I'm going to go in with the Crunchi No Filters Translucent Powder, and I'm just going to use that just in the center of my face. So just right underneath the eye area. And I like using the same blending brush that I use for concealer because it doesn't have a lot of product on it, but the smaller the brush, the more precise you can be with where you want to place the powder. And I'm just going to run that on up into my eyelids because I did use a little bit. I did carry my foundation up there as well, so that's going to act as like a eye primer. And also I've noticed, not that I'm old, but I am getting older, that if I use too much concealer or powder right underneath my eyes here, it does crease more than it used to. So I just like to be very gentle and precise with where I'm placing the powder. And also it helps if you really moisturize that area before you begin your makeup. And I just like to give it a little pat to really push that powder into the skin. And then I'm just going to gently swipe down the center of my nose. And then just a tad right in the center of the forehead. And that is all. This is a It's definitely like a satin finish matte powder, so it's not going to be super drying, but it is going to give you that coverage and like that setting that you need. And because I am an oily skin gal, I am also going to go in with another powder by Lolo. This is the Flawless Silk. This definitely is not a matte powder, but I am going to use that on the outer portions of my face, just very, very lightly, because I am going to go in with a little bit of a powder bronzer. So because I have oily skin, when I go to apply my bronzer, I don't want that to just swipe the product completely away. So I just put a little bit in the lid, and I'm using my Eco's Tool brush. I will list all these brushes as well. And I'm just going to kind of just buff that all over the face. So just like with my foundation, I like to press and then I like to buff so that none of that product gets moved around. You guys might call me crazy, but the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fix my eyebrows because they're driving me insane. I'm just going to brush those up a little. So I'm going to actually do my lips now because I have my flat base. You can see I'm very flat. My color matches, and I don't have a ton of dimension to my face. But what I like to do is go with my lipstick first, especially when I'm doing a darker shade, because then I can see what exactly I want to do to my eyes, how I want to do my blush, and how much bronzer I want to use, because I definitely don't want to look too made up. So I'm going to go in with this Crunchi lipstick. It's the shade Pomegranate. Very beautiful fall color. And before I do anything, I'm just going to take my finger and kind of swipe it on the lipstick. And I'm just going to pat it onto the lips. And first I just like to create a stain, because this is going to act as like a base layer for your lips, so that when you apply this, you don't have to keep reapplying throughout the day. It should stay for most of the day, because this extra little step is definitely going to help. You can also do this with a lip pencil, but I'm not a huge fan of lip pencils. I use them on clients for weddings and stuff to really define the lips, but for me, I don't use one every day. So I just like to create a stain and also just get the main shape of my lips by doing that as well. So you could leave it like this, just a very natural everyday look is fine. But now I'm going to go in and actually apply the lip color all over, and I'm just going to use really gentle swiping motions. I'm not going to press really hard. Let me just grab my mirror. I'm going to finish applying this, and then all I'm going to do is make sure I really pay attention to those outer lines. When you're using a darker shade, just take your time, apply it precisely, and use your finger to blend everything in, and that will also decrease greatly the bleeding that you have on your lip lines. So I'm going to apply this, and I'll be right back and show you what it looks like when I have it all blended out. Okay, so I apologize if it got a little dark in here. It decided to rain in the middle of this tutorial, but let's continue. So I have that all blended out on my lips. It is a just gorgeous plummy purple shade. They are very they're very moisturizing. Every time you put your lips together, it gives like a little moisture surge. So now what I like to do, since I did my lips, now I can kind of see what I want to do to add to my face. So go in with the my dirty Lily Lolo Pure Indulgence eye palette. And I'm just going to grab this gorgeous goldeny shade right here. And I'm just going to use a Crunchi brush. And And I'm just going to apply that all over the eyelid. I think that reds and like plummy maroon colors, purples, I think it looks just absolutely gorgeous with a little bit of gold somewhere in the look. So I'm just going to apply that all over the eyelid. And then once I got a good base, I'm going to take my finger and just make it a little tiny bit more pigmented, just kind of right on the center. I'm just going to use that same brush and grab the matte cream shade and just highlight a little bit underneath the brow bone. And that is all I'm doing for the eyes. Okay, next I'm going to go and fill in my brows just a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Lily Lolo in the shade Light, and I'm first going to go in with the waxy formula, just a tiny little bit, and run that really quickly through the brows themselves. This is just going to give them a little bit of something to hold on to once I go and go in with that brow powder. You definitely do not have to do this. This is just like a little bit of an extra step that I take, because my eyebrows can be a little cray-cray sometimes. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with that brow powder, and I'm just going to fill in where I feel like they need a little bit of help. And if you make sure you use upper like hair leg motions like this, it will definitely ensure that your brows come out looking very natural and not drawn on, so to speak. Okay, so there's one brow. So that is one brow done, one brow not. You can see I didn't fill it in a ton. I just, if it had like any big holes or anything, I just filled those in and I just brushed it up. If you guys want to know a trick, I do this quite often, is once I fill my brows in, I back comb them this way. And they look really crazy, like this. And then I go back over them just really lightly, and it makes them look thicker and fuller. Just a quick little tip. So I'm going to go and just fill this one in quickly, and then when I get back, we're going to finish up this look. And it's going to be super easy, and you're going to see why I did the lips first. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my brows kind of where I want them. Like I said, I'm just keeping everything super natural, so it's okay that my brows are a little bit messy. I kind of like it that way. I go through phases where I like really structured brows and I don't like structured brows, and that's what I'm going to go with today. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just finish up this really quick eye look. All I did is put the gold shimmer from the Lily Lolo palette on my lids. Now I'm going to give those a good curl. Curling your eyelashes makes all the difference. I just like to do like 10 little pumps. And then I'm going to go in with the Lily Lolo Black, let me try to hold that up, Lily Lolo Black Vegan Mascara. I'm just going to put a couple of coats on my mascara, on my eyelashes, and really wiggle that into the lash line. My eyelashes are quite voluminous and long with this mascara, which I love. And sometimes I do get it up on my eyelid, but it's fine. If you just let it dry, it'll flake right off with a cotton, like a Q-tip, once you get your entire look done. And I like to focus it, I do like the second coat more on the outside because I just like how that looks. It gives it more of like a flared cat eye effect going on. I go and put a little liner or a little mascara just on the lower lash line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Crunchi Brilliant Bronzer. It's a powdered bronzer. And I'm just gonna grab my Real Techniques. You guys know this is my bronzer brush. I'm just gonna do a tiny little bit, just what was ever in the lid, and I'm just gonna pat right there, kind of underneath my cheekbone there. That's it. But can you see the difference that made? Just pat it right ever so gently. And then I'm going to get just a tad more. And I'm just going to run that across my forehead. And just a little down my neck there, just so everything's nice and blended together. Normally I would do way more bronzer than that, but that's all I really want for this look. Now it's really important when you do a dark lip, you definitely don't have to do blush. It looks fine without it. I prefer to add a little blush, but it is very important to pick a blush that is in the same color family as your lipstick. So what you can do is take your lipstick, put a little bit just on the back of your hand. Now take your middle finger, tap, and just apply it right to the apples of the cheeks. And I just like to kind of bring that all the way back towards the hairline and just really smooth out any of those harsh lines. Now this is just one side done. I just wanted you to see it didn't add a ton of, like, you guys are gonna think that it looks crazy, but I swear it doesn't. It just makes you have a nice, really healthy glow that looks beautiful with your lipstick. And don't worry, because you did a tiny little dusting of powder. It's totally okay to use like a lipstick or a cream blush over top. You can also go over this with a powder blush if you have something that's in the same color family. But leaving it just as is totally fine. I just think this gives this such a beautiful glow to the skin. And it just really livens up the makeup look. So for the last little thing I'm going to do, and then this look is going to be totally complete, I'm going to go with my 100% pure highlighter. My brain wasn't thinking there for a second. I'm just going to grab my Real Technique setting brush, and I'm just going to put a little bit right on the high points of my cheeks, on the tip of my nose. I'm just going to take a little bit and apply it right on the inner corner. And this look is complete. It is beautiful for just a very easy fall makeup look. You guys know I never fix my hair, but I'm going to go fix it and just kind of put the look all together. But it's just something that normally if I'm not talking and things, I could literally just throw it on, put on a dark lipstick and run out the door. And I love the fact that everything I use in this video is toxic-free makeup. So that is a huge plus for me. I will link everything I use down below in the description box, and I will also be posting this up on my blog, so be sure to check that out for a full list of product details. I will also go the extra step and list products that are similar that I have in my kit, or things I used to use that are not non-toxic. If you prefer to use conventional makeup, that's perfectly fine. I will list some good alternatives for that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for my channel for more fun videos, and I'll see you guys next time.